And we are back on The Rodriguez Show. And usually we don't give our guests an entire episode, but our friend that's here today is one of my favorite guests. Always interesting, always some of the best music I've heard. His name is Kenan Bell.
What up, what up, what up, what up? What's going on, fam?
How are you, man?
I'm doing excellent, brother. How are you?
Great. Yeah, it's been 3 years since you've been here.
Wow.
I know. It's 2020 in February was the last time you were here in studio. You performed a few songs with Mellow Thing on the drums, which is still one of my favorite performances.
Crazy. Thank you.
Yeah, that was so dope. So that's been, 3 years now. That was 3 years ago.
It was just insane.
Time has flown by.
Truly flying, man.
You were also part of our Kill 'Em at the Polls, our 2020 election, and encouraging people to vote. Event. We did a live stream. That was dope.
I was happy to be involved with that, man. Definitely.
That was a fun one. I loved your set on that one.
Thank you.
We asked for half an hour. You gave us an hour.
Extra. Once again, extra. Give me the whole hour.
So yeah, man. I know we'll talk about how you got married. That's a big recent thing. But is there anything else you want to talk about that has happened in the last 3 years?
Man. I mean, it's a pretty that's the most integral part of this season for sure. Like it's we're still riding the honeymoon high. Like we just had like a reception this weekend for fam. That's why we got people out. So we extended the nuptials over like a couple different continents, several months. So again, extra. We're doing the most.
You got married in France. Congrats to you and Christina. That's amazing.
Well, I appreciate it, man.
How long? How was the planning of that? How did you plan that whole thing?
That was I give her all the credit, so I can't really take much credit for the coordination. But as far as how well it was. How well she situated us and like right in the middle, both for France, and then we honeymoon in Greece, so we could walk to wherever we wanted to go. Like it was almost like she's been doing this forever, like travel agent or something. So she did a great job. I'm proud of her.
Yeah, I saw the pictures on your Instagram, which is Kenan's room, and you'll see it on the screen if you're watching the video. Sure. Such a beautiful, whole situation, man.
Yeah, it was magical, truly. Like it was everything we could have dreamed for and more. Really, yeah.
And you said that you had a reception this past weekend. Well, we recorded it. When this airs, it'll be a month ago. But how was that?
It was awesome. It was great to be surrounded by family. I mean, since she and I were the only ones in Paris, like we just did something for the two of us, but still wanted to have that celebration with the rest of our community. So it was special for us to be able to get together and friends and family that haven't met before, or for folks that we haven't seen in forever. So it was really a nice gathering. We had a beautiful time.
Damn. Well, yeah. Well, congratulations once again.
Thank you, brother.
So dope. Before we move on from this, how do you pick the best wedding suit? Like, what decision went into that?
Good question. Like I've had past the bad suits, like the prom fit. I came with like the white. I was the only one in all white with the high top Air Forces. This was in like, I'll date myself. This was before you could get white Air Forces everywhere. Let's say that. But so with this one, the lady was just like, nah, we're not gonna go that route. So I just had some good people in my corner that had me looking right though. But I felt good, and it was it made it even more the more special just to be able to be in that environment. Like it's like everything is picturesque. You're looking at a castle right here. Like everywhere you look is like there's 150-year-old buildings, 200-year-old buildings. So it was a cool experience for that. We're mad grateful.
France is beautiful. I went to Italy last year, but
That's right.
I plan on going to France.
That's where we want to go. That's the next spot.
And then, so we're getting to the music. Time, I wanted to mention that even though it dropped 2 years ago, one of my favorite tracks of 2021. How did you just see the Adult Swim challenge? You're like, this beat is inspiring me.
Yeah, even before that, I was seeing like Vano going crazy on TikTok and stuff, and then that took off, and I was watching. I'm a student of the game, so even though I may not have as much time to devote, it's like I'm still eager to find out who's using the cutting edge technology and in which ways. And so the sample being Future Islands, like I'm a fan of the band, like so saw the video around the same time, had the idea for the record, and like most things we were talking earlier, I hold on to stuff. I got records ready to drop that I've had for some time, but time, no pun. But that one, I wrote it, and then when the Adult Swim was popping and it kind of tapered off or something. I hadn't dropped it yet. I was thinking, why not? Maybe I won't drop it. I'm glad I did because it's one of my favorite joints from like the last little season or something too. So
such a great like you're flowing over it.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. So fast forward now to this year. We have a few singles that you dropped. We'll start with Vibrance, the first one that dropped in 2023, which has the Sway intro. Where is that from?
That's from Shade 4 or 5. So I did get Get in the Game, I think it was called. They had me like competing with the cat's name was Johnny Two Phones. So it was like they played one of my joints, played one of his joints, and then fans could call in. You know, the hyena, not the hyenas. What they call the universe, Sway Universe. They could call in and vote on whichever track they like the most. So, yeah, I lost to Johnny Two Phones.
Damn.
His record was like a little turned up a little bit. I could understand it, but the feedback that I got from like the Shade 45 crew, you know, Sway in the Morning and Heather B especially, and then even from the callers, like they were saying like the track was sounding like some organized noise, maybe some Mad Lib, and like it was just interesting to hear people, and these are folks from New York or from all over the world or country, giving feedback on the record. So it was a cool opportunity. Sway and I had a little interaction, and I had to make something out of it, you know.
Yeah.
Make a little drop out of it. I'm like, I have to.
Yeah. And then the DJ mix that we're gonna play today, you also dropped that in the mix, right?
Yeah, I've been trying to use it more just because it's like it's a jewel. Like, why not? You know, it's a gem. Like, yeah. So I try to sneak it in when I can.
When you do like DJ mixes or even producing something, do you like listen to a sound, not necessarily music, but like a sound effect in TV show or somebody saying something where you're like, I like how that sounds.
Oh yeah, all the time. And like some of the best the hip hop producers or musicians, you know, they're pulling from everything, you know, from Prince Paul to Doom to the cat Rock Marciano, whoever's doing like that kind of cinematic production style. But like I've always just been like, I don't know, hypersensitive maybe. So like sounds would trigger certain things. I remember there was this Volkswagen commercial from maybe like 2002 or something, and it had like some score that they, you know, that was placed for the clip. And this was Napster era, so I was like seeking that sound. It had like a crazy church bell in it, and the commercial was like a Jetta commercial for this wedding scene or whatever, and like it just struck me as something like crazy. I ended up rapping over it for I think the 31 Flavors tape, but like that commercial, that bell, it was just like it just evokes a feeling or something. So yeah, it could be anything from being in the classroom, hearing a bus drive by, and wanting to have that kind of bring in the cityscape into the music too. You know, trying to incorporate those things that when we're listening to music, you're hearing these other things interacting with it. So like the whole ecosystem, trying to make
it's a little bit of like sound design, basically.
Of course, yeah. And I think that's the thing that I've been tapping into more. I think DJing more has allowed for that. That's where I'm adding in that Sway clip, because I had that for a couple years. I didn't really know how to use it, but now I'm like, okay, adding some of the dance hall effects and stuff, and just being able to source any material you can on YouTube or different sources. You know, it's like we have like a plethora of archive pieces at our disposal, artifacts, you know, that we can do anything with. Like hip hop's the perfect medium to do it. So
it trips me out too, because I remember like when I started doing this radio show, the one that we're listening to right now, radio show, I would like try to pull clips, but it was like, oh, I need a recorder off the TV.
It was crazy.
And now it's like, oh, I just screen record my iPhone and it'll save the sound.
And then you download the filter to get the like dusty TV effect.
Yeah,
right?
And that's all you need.
Right. You have to like reverse engineer. But yeah, we're at a pivotal time just in history. I trip out just because to be able to do things like this, it's like, how would the, you know, original era of rap musicians even be able to? They weren't even putting stuff in magazines. They weren't the outlets, and now we're at a place where independent stations are able to allow, you know, platforms like this to exist, and just being able to tap into what technology we have to continue to push the art forward. That's cool.
Yeah, that's the most important thing for us is like, how do we use, even like us adapting to like, okay, we started as a podcast, now we're on YouTube too. It's just, you got to keep up with everything.
It's true.
Go on TikTok too. That's
right.
That's so hard.
Well, there's so many things. And by the time this airs, there'll be another platform, you know, that just popped up and kind of took everybody's attention. So yeah, it's part of the beauty and the struggle, I guess, you know?
Yeah. So Vibrance, choose Vibrance as soon as I'm waking up. One thing I can't say enough, people just be saying stuff. Does that line, like, is that the first thing you wrote, or was that?
It was kind of that phrase was almost like, I didn't know if I was going to release. I'm not sure what this collection will see, you know, what it will become. But I think initially I just, you know, you're watching things, you're watching the news, somebody makes a comment online about this rapper being the GOAT, and they've released one project, and you're just like, people just talk. They just be saying, people just be saying stuff. So I was just like ruminating on our day-to-day to myself, talking to myself, and that phrase was almost going to become like the theme of the EP or the name of the EP. So then when it came up in that line, it just fit, you know. So yeah.
It does sound like a cool intro song. Like if
you know, and it was the first one I dropped from this project. So see, we on it, we got it. Yeah, I love it.
The saxophone solo, who did that?
Mello recorded. I forget, maybe the Jazz Cafe or some space where he was doing the audio, and so they had him working the boards, and so, you know, again, he had access to the stemmed out band, and what producer doesn't want, you know, to be able to get those pure files, you know? So he was able to like just piece it together. And I think some of the recording might have been even like field recording with his phone. I think he was at I don't know if it was a quinceañera, like a Mexican restaurant where the homies was coming around like with the full instruments and the tuxedos, and that's where I get my tuxedo inspiration from. Truly, yeah, from the bandas, right? Yeah. And he recorded them too. So it was the saxophone from the live event, and then some field recording that he got. So
Damn,
he's definitely tapping in. Yeah, it's wild. He's on it. We're on a wave right now for sure.
Is that his laugh on it though?
For sure, you can't tell.
Yeah, no, I can tell.
Oh, you hear it? Yeah, and that may have been from that same event. That might have even been a third piece that got pieced together in the puzzle. To like, and then the record, and then and I had that beat for again that instrumental he might have sent me like 2021 or 2022. So probably the last time I was on here, I got it. Something.
Yeah, I mean, because all this stuff you sent me in January was all the stuff you're releasing now,
right?
And it has dates on like early 2020, shit like that. I'm like, holy shit!
It's wild. That's.
Well, that's gonna be one of my questions for later on.
Okay,
but how far in advance did you plan this release that you're doing right now?
It was pretty much like I got like enough of a body of work to where it was like, I don't know, my cachet was getting overwhelmed. It's like, what am I going to do with this? If I don't start dropping, I'll just end up with another album that never dropped and no one heard but like the cousins or like the homie, and like, which is cool too. But I felt like there was something in this batch that if I wasn't going to put some stuff out, it would, I wouldn't do it justice. Yeah. So, I just started dropping truly. I just set a release date and was like, all right, let's figure it out now.
Yeah, no, and there's some amazing stuff. I mean, like with the Mello thing right now, he's in a pocket in the past couple of years where we're just like, oh my God, like he's evolved so quickly, even though he was already great to begin with.
Truly, yeah, and like just like taking on different hats and consistently pushing the envelope with how you track stuff and what sources you're pulling things from, and just like the creative process is a full body, a complete being. It's not just like, all right, how are we going to lay this kick drum? It's like, well, let's record the kick with the pillow, but record it, in the floor, so you're getting the vibration from the drum, but you're not accessing the specific, actually recording the instrument, and you're recording the vibration that it creates. Just bugging out, having fun, Yeah.
Oh man, So moving on to What I Meant to Say, which is released in August and it was produced by you.
Yeah.
The instrumental with the beat chop that you posted on Instagram, that was dope.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
How long ago between you producing that and actually rapping over it?
Yeah, that's crazy. Actually, I found the sample when I pull up on them in Edmonton. My fam from Canada. I had the beat. It might have been Christmas of last year, or maybe like. There was a wedding for one of our family friends that we went to maybe like in September. So I had the beat, and I might have had the song. That's the thing that bugs me out. Like folks trip out about how long I had the record and I didn't drop it. I had that sample for a year or two before I even realized what it was, you know? But at the crib, we were listening and I just like tapped in, and then, so I had the beat maybe a year and a half. That one didn't take as long because it was like undeniable. Like I had to do something. That may have been the one. A couple of these last ones that have been dropping, that one, the most recent joint. I think those ones were kind of like, okay, like let's go, like let's do something with this.
Yeah, that like the way it flows is and the the feeling of it gives me like the golden age of like the chipmunk sound kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not that it is like that, but it's just such a dope sound.
No, I appreciate it. And I tracked the beat live, so like I didn't record in any DAW or anything. Like I just had the record like how we mix on the decks, and like just had the cue points, and it's a performance piece. So I recorded the instrumental live, chopping up individual sections and like doing the filters and like the OGs did with the pause tapes with the vinyl back in the day. So I think that's the thing. Like DJing really allowed me to look at music differently because I could do so much manipulating with it that, again, just opens a different box, So it made it fun for me again to make music. And I think that segueing into the production, that's kind of been what there's been like the motor behind a lot of the new releases was the DJing, I think.
It's interesting you said that because you can hear it. Like you can hear the more like it's just such a different like more raw sound because it feels like it's live.
That's cool. That's good to hear.
I wanted to ask you because of what you say in the lyrics. Have you ever had somebody come up to you like misinterpret the meaning of a lyric?
Oh yeah.
And like, was there like an outrageous one where it's completely off?
Yeah, and it's almost intentional. Like it's set up for that. The rest of the lyric that you're talking about says like, "Oh, how'd you hear it?" Well, that's what I meant to say, and that's the whole premise of the song. It's like there may be, it's like two forks in the road. Like if you go this way or that way, if you interpret that lyric this way, then the rest of the lyrics might mean something differently. So it's like you choose your own adventure. you know.
Yeah.
But one that specifically kind of left me like that, or had people struck, like I said things intentionally using innuendo and maybe implied something or another, and like a homegirl at one of the shows, like a good friend of mine, like a music industry buddy, she was like, you didn't have to do us like that. Like, I know what you meant or something, and it was like, so she understood me too,
Yeah.
which is part of it. Like, I want you to get the joke or understand my purpose in that too. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
relationship. It's like relating with it. So I have fun.
That's what I like about your work is that it has, abstract. It could be abstract as well.
Cool. Yeah, that's cool.
And then I liked, the word Carhartt, the way you said it, Carhartt in the song. Do you find like do those words come to you too, and you're like, I have to put this word in there because I like the way it sounds?
It's a couple things. It's like truly, it can be that for sure. The spacing in the cadence may allow for elongating things in certain points that just make me have to do that. It's like exercise. Like, you playing soccer or something, that ball is too wide, you had to step, you almost split your pants, but like you're testing those boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
So like with some of the syllable work and stuff, like, and the beats really encourage that. So it's mostly beat driven, right? I'm not like thinking like, let me make this sound cool or something. I almost try to avoid that.
Yeah.
And in this record, it was hard because the beat was so hard. I was just kind of like feeling my like a little bit. So I'm like, all right, let me just. I don't want it to be too obvious. Let me like play it cool. But that line I couldn't hide. And sometimes you just to make the rhyme just feel a little bit more interesting. And maybe I didn't do as much of that in the past. So I'm just trying to grow as an artist myself.
Yeah. No, it's cool to hear your voice on the beat like that.
Nice.
And then the sample at the end, which I couldn't. I tried to find it by typing in because I saw the clip as well.
Oh yeah.
Which is the woman realizing that she's black. What inspired you to put that in there?
Yeah, I showed too much. Like no sample snitching. What inspired me to put that in there?
Yeah, you don't
like,
have to say the name or anything.
Truly, the clip came before I made the beat. I saw the visual like on Twitter or something. We ain't calling it X, and before I even had the song idea, like it was like this is gonna work perfectly for something. But yeah, it's from Vampira, like 1974. Yeah, beautiful actress played the role, and like I guess the doctor created a vampirist like he wanted to make, and something went wrong in his process to where he accidentally like overcooked her, let's say, or something, like just switched it up. Yeah,
it doesn't have to make sense necessarily in those movies.
Yeah, not at all. And like, but her realization was so profound because she's just like, oh snap, like that's me. And so it is just, yeah, it was a funny clip that I think it might even be better than the rest of the film. No offense to any fans of that genre, but like I had to use it in some way. So I'm glad it snuck in.
If you want to see it, you can go to Kenan's room. It's on the post for Connected Dots, which is a song that came out in September. Another one that we're talking about. Another one produced by you.
Yes, sir.
That one to me sounds like, because you say even in the song "Travel Back to Africa," like it sounds like you're traveling somewhere.
Word.
Is that what you're trying to do, or what?
Again, dude, it's like I'm moved by the spirit. I feel like I try to stay connected to enough of the things that I almost don't have to do much. It's going to become innate. Like, you ingest good food, you're studying good philosophy, you're going to start to just think differently or something like this. So like the sample, again, no sample snitching.
Yeah.
I haven't said it clean yet. No sample snitching. No sample snitching. Yeah. YouTubers, stay off the sample snitching, please. But yeah, the record may have one of the versions of that song, the title maybe inspired the lyric. So the original track may have been from a particular production, and in one of the languages, that name inspired the theme of the record. So, and then there's like the birds in the intro. So I think they were already doing some sound design in that track that's also kind of, inspiring me to do a lot more because I'm incorporating those songs already. So it's like, how can I add to this sample without just looping it up and doing something just, traditional or whatever. But yeah, it was all kind of connected, and I think the name of the original track just had me writing about that concept. The name of the beat originally was African or No African or something like this.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, I have that.
Oh, that's right. So that I just stuck with it.
Nice. And so you have mentioned it already, sample snitching. I actually had heard that first from you. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. No, I'm happy to hear that, and I'm glad to be spreading the message. Like, and it's fine. I think as like students of the culture, we're digesting it at such a high rate, you may not even realize some of the legal ramifications that come from artists producing this content and not having done gone through the proper channels to do it. So as excited as you may be to have discovered, even when I'm on live and like going live or stuff, DJing, and people hear like the original or the track, they're chiming in with the sample stuff, it's like, it's not that cool. You look silly because it's not part. It's like the reason being because you'll get sample copyright infringement, and they'll either nix the song or require you to take it off all streaming platforms. Like most of the stuff that De La Soul just went through this year was because of the samples from those original catalogs. So them not being allowed to be on digital platforms was a result of them having sampled and having not cleared those samples. So when newer artists are producing, and these are obscure records, some might see it as theft, but there's so many different philosophy schools of thought. It's like I come from school of hip hop, so looking at it, it's an homage essentially. And if we were more justly compensated, then there'd be enough money. But like, you want to split my 36/100th of a cent per stream, like you can audit me if you know the sample that you choosing. Please do. You can
I'll
have
give
all
you the
my
$5.
all
like,
my money.
whatever
You
it
can
is.
buy a candy bar or something. Like it's all yours. But yeah, don't tell on the samples. Producers work really hard. And it's also a science. It's like you research that. It's the same thing as people kind of like gatekeep. So that's the same thing. Like no sample snitching, but like I'm a DJ. Like you like that song, you ask me for that song. If I tell you which song I played, I'm sample snitching because my set list may be what got me that gig. Yeah. If I tell you all of my portfolio, then you're gonna take my opportunities to live. So I kind of find myself at the like crossroads of that too. Because folks would be, even DJs that played last week, the DJ was like, yo, that first soft shot, hey, drum and bass, something. I'm like, yeah, like, I mean, I got you, but like, I might forget that you asked too. It's like if somebody see you fresh or something, it's like where you get your shoe or where you get this. It's like, I'm probably not going to tell you.
Because I can't blow up the spot.
I'm gonna lead you like Bugs Bunny when he puts the Albuquerque sign and he puts it that way, and you really supposed to be following him going that way, or like the coyote or something. So yeah, no sample snitching.
Yeah, it's true. Because even one of my favorite albums of this year, I won't say what it is, but there's a lot of samples where you're like, I don't think they cleared that.
Oh yeah,
and it's like, but I'm not gonna. It's such an amazing track. Like
you can't separate it, and that's just such an integral part of that sound. It's like hip hop essentially derived from those that didn't have access to the musical school classes and instruments. So it's like we're going to the records in the basement that we already have, and we're going to create this thing that's 50 years later we're celebrating. So it's like it's ingrained in the essence of the culture, so it's hard to separate it. But most of these YouTube warriors, the meme with the kids on the couch and they discussing like the Griselda record and they're like 11 years old. It's like, you have no idea why Virgil wrote or wrote brick on the brick.
Even us sometimes, even though we try to learn as much as we can, it does feel like we're those kids
still
occasionally.
Forever. And I hope to be. I hope to be like the one that doesn't think I know it all, and like that's the struggle. Like being as well researched as you need to be able to have conversations about something that you love, but also not losing that fanship. Always a fan first. Yeah, for sure.
That's how I feel. And then the last track that was released, Mary's Theme, at the end of, or actually in the middle of October.
Yeah.
Which is, as you can guess from the name, Mary's Theme, it's kind of centered. From what I can interpret, marijuana.
Yeah. It might be. I don't know. It's like I said. What did you think the lyrics said? That's what it meant to say. That's what I meant to say.
That one, I didn't have the time to look up the details on that. Who produced that one?
Your boy.
That's nice.
Yeah. So I've been like, that's again from this new frontier that I've embarked on. It's like that time joint might have connected me back, because like my early beats, I was chopping stuff up. Like this is Alchemist is releasing samples from tracks that I might have had in like 2006 or something. Like so, but it's cool for me to see that this wave is just forever, maybe just different drums or something. But yeah, Mary's Theme, like, it's about a romantic affair. It could be with yourself, with your choices, with what you allow to kind of dictate or influence your daily life. Could be a partner, maybe that's right for you, maybe that's not right for you, but you're not willing to, a couple homies listened to it and didn't even catch up on any other potential sub-innuendos until the third listen. So I'm going to leave it up to the listener. You're going to have to listen for the joint.
Yeah, no, it's true. And that's, like I said, that's the cool thing about it, is there's so many ways to interpret it.
Right. It's Mary's Theme. Yeah.
What So you said you don't know yet what this collection of songs is going to become?
I haven't decided really. Like folks are asking, like, because it's good to have something. I think that was also that encouraged me to drop. It felt like I had enough pieces that could be. Same thing happened with The Greater Good. It's like I've been recording a bunch. I had 20, couple dozen songs. It's like, let me just figure out a way that this makes sense for how I move, so that I can not get caught up in the process of just like the rigmarole of recording industries or whatnot. So I'll probably piece these together with another couple stuff. I got like another dozen total, either finished or in mixing or about to hop in and get back with Mello soon here. About to take a little departure, to get honest. So I'm here now, right? But we back to the music for
Back
sure.
on it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so speaking of the DJing, man, so how long have you been DJing and like openly in gigs and stuff? It's been a few years now, right?
It's been a minute. And honestly, I was doing it before I could even DJ, which is sad to say, because I was just like pre-clout machines or whatnot in LA. Like I was kind of popping with the music like in the 2010s and stuff. So my initial right? And so I was able to play clubs, and I remember I played a bar, I played Tequila twice that night, and it was in a 30-minute set, and like, so I was doing it before I should have, and no disrespect to those, but I felt something then where I was like, I can access the music differently. I can have fun that writing rap records doesn't always allow for, because it's like, how do I need to say that? It's like almost too precious. So maybe like 2015 or 16, there was a project I was going to do right before I recorded The Greater Good, and it was called The Hand Speaks. I was inspired by like the Talking Heads album artwork from Remain in Light, like before ASAP and Black Scale were doing those upside down A's, Talking Heads had. So that album has an intro track, Born Under Punches, and it's like a funky like Afro beat like inspired indie track, but he's talking about how the hand speaks in the lyric, and I was just like, oh, it'd be cool to do. This is kind of when that sound design came in. It's kind of all full circle. I was thinking about doing a record where some of the transitions in between the songs would be beats made from DJ sets where I'm just playing music that I like, and I was speeding up the records crazy. I was doing all this stuff with the pitch, because it was just like I could do things that I could never do with my songs in studio, because once I recorded this beat, like that's it. I can't even have fun with it anymore. Now it's this pressure of getting money from it and making a career out of it, right? So like being able to just like play these random songs, but then I had an idea, all the things that we do with our hands in between it. Maybe I get some field recording of like I don't know if that was bad, but like the knocking to show, and like maybe the dapping somebody up, and like get this, and there'd be a conversation, and the next song would start. And it like the hand speaks was this theme, and I was also gonna mix the record because the DJ speaks with his hand. Shout out Mando, Mondo in the mix, Mondo in the mix.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the original, maybe 7-8 years ago, and then just lo and behold, I had to do a show. I'm gonna have to DJ my own set. I'm DJing more pandemic. I'm doing the mix for you. I'm doing other mixes, radio shows. It just kind of happened naturally. Did some dub lab stuff in LA. So and then now I'm like kind of taking it more serious, where like it's like not my main thing. It's still the second thing for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe after Candles, even third thing. But it's my most enjoyable. So I definitely spend a lot of time with that.
Do you has there been a particular like gig that you've done in the past year or two that you stood out?
Man, like playing like the Angel City Brewery and like a couple events at like spaces where I'm outdoors, and like those are fun. Like Golden Road Brewery as well. Doing some stuff even in like Old Town Pasadena. I'm actually playing this weekend. I played earlier this month. It's outdoors, cool, and I don't have any like constricts or confines as far as what I can play. They want what I do. I love that. I played other spaces where it's like you're playing at
You have to play this
10 to 2 on a Friday night. They want the 2000s, Chingy right there mix, which I mess with.
Yeah,
I'll play it. I'll play some J-Quan. I love it, But when I could just kind of have fun with it, it's like I don't like to be boxed, and I want to just trust me,
Yeah.
But I'm doing 82 mostly. 82, the Barcade in like our fourth place in Little Tokyo.
Okay.
And it's a beautiful space. They have an incredible sound system, and I can play what I want for hours. So that's my like favorite spot to be in, favorite gig.
Nice. Yeah, and so they can get details on that at Kenan's Room on Instagram. And then, I wanted to ask you lastly, is candles, Stay Fresh Candles.
Yep.
I've seen the evolution of that since we've done interviews here since
Yeah,
2019, and that's dope.
Thanks, man.
How's that been for you?
It's been incredible too. Like again with like this wedding planning this summer, we were able to take a slight hiatus. But like we're jumping back in for the holiday season. Already have a bunch of markets lined up for the fall and for winter. But it's been a crazy growth just from like 4 years now, coming upon 5 years, having just made like a couple dozen candles in the crib and not knowing what to do, taking them to Edmonton, Canada, and just being the family loved them to now like there's probably like 7 stores I think right now in LA that are stocking.
Nice.
And it'll be an interesting holiday season. But yeah, we've grown the collection to like from 3 cents to over a dozen cents. Like the packaging, also that's the thing. Like for me to have to design packaging, like it's another creative outlet. I feel like that's like releasing a record or doing something cool. So I'm really enjoying the behind the scenes creative production of the brand.
Yeah, that's something you notice too. Is that I feel like you put in, like you said, it's like one of your main things is the candle. So you're putting in the effort in the design aspect, which I know you have. I have one of your collages. I know you have
Oh, thanks.
talent in that.
That's
so
right.
It's just
Thank
dope
you.
to see it all like play out.
And it's wild because now even the new boxes, like I shouldn't. I've been like, I'm not on candle mode yet. After this week, after we back, but yeah, the new box design is the interior is a full collage, and like the box is recycled material, 100% compostable. So like now everything within our brand has lined up. Finally, it's like we're not doing a relaunch, but I just feel very invigorated for this next season for us as a brand.
At Stay Fresh Candles is the Instagram. And lastly, before we get into the mix, I wanted to ask you something just in general. As somebody that's has so many creative outlets and you've had a long career doing all these things, has there been moments where there's been like a slowdown, and how do you motivate yourself to get out of that?
That's a good question. Definitely all the time. Like artists, human beings, you're always doubting choices. I mean, if you're not, there's something wrong. There has to be a healthy balance. You have to obviously trust your instincts most of the time. But yeah, it's difficult because there'll be seasons where you're just not feeling like there's much to share. Like I was saying, like first 5 years of my career is like I went from only having an EP to touring Europe twice off those 4 songs. And I didn't have to release any more music for like 2 years, just off the strength of what we were doing in a live capacity. So, and doing like the BBC Live and doing like Power and doing like these crazy, it was almost like a whirlwind in that sense. So then when things taper off, it's easy to not feel as inspired because again, now it's a job and there's been expectations established and this and that. But you kind of just got to get back on the horse. You got to buck up. Like I never stopped releasing music. I recorded the Hand Speaks project. I have 16 songs that never dropped.
Yeah.
Some ill stuff. So yeah, like just try not to get too much in your head and just continue to do what you've always done, and don't be bound by circumstances. The only reason that I would feel like it's a good reason to chill on releasing was when it just felt too much like a chore. It's like I'm doing this just to say I did it. I'm releasing things just to stay in the mix, and that's cool too. But it's not why I made music to begin with. It's like more of something that driven me internally. Is not like I'm not gonna have fun doing it for that reason. The music's not gonna sound good. It's gonna be trash. So
Yeah, it's like as long as like your passion for the art is still there, like you
forever.
keep going.
And then maybe I'll divert from that pursuit. Maybe that's when I jumped into doing some of the more fine, like handmade things or the collage work or like finding other outlets for that when that felt kind of stagnant. And it helped to reinforce like, okay, so it's collage will take all these different things. Okay, that's a DJ mix. That's the sound design. You took this from that. You take this from that. They're all the same. Like I'm designing clothing. Okay, well I still stitch this with this and like it's kind of all cooking food. It's like it's all the same. I just might take some time to learn how to do graphic design so I can keep that thing rolling, and then I can hop back into the music after I learn how to DJ. And I'm so just trying to divide the time and focus energy.
Yes, and you do you have any time to do all this stuff?
Never, never one time, not at all. But that's a good thing. Like I wouldn't want it any other way. Like. And again, just trying to make sure that you save something for yourself. If you're an empty glass, I can't pour into anyone else. Like I'm an educator as well, so like I'm with 20 kids all day, teaching algebra to history and science and stuff, and then trying to find motivation to get back on the deck. So I think my life work balance has forced itself to mesh in some ways, but like it's still difficult because now you have a wife and you want to make sure that you don't neglect any of your priorities at any point in time. So, but this is growth. This is what we got to do.
Well, continued growth, continued success. Thank you for being here, man.
Word up. Thank you for having me, brother. Always happy to be here.
Of course. At Kenan's Room is Instagram, and we're going to get into a 30-minute mix. You ready to mix for 30
Word up.
minutes?
I can't wait. My favorite thing in the world. Thank you for letting me do it.
Of course. All right. We got, right now, we're going to do a DJ mix, and then we got more on the way. This is Kenan Bell on The Rodriguez Show.
Yup.